My definition of success is peace of mind attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable. And only you as an individual will know whether you did that or not. You can fool others, but you can't fool yourself. The next tier, 3 blocks, the heart of the pyramid. Condition, skill, team spirit. Condition, you must be conditioned for whatever you're doing. And too often we think that conditioning is all the same, and it isn't all the same. Let's say fullbacks in football aren't conditioned the same way as the wide receivers would be. There's a different condition. And in every profession, you must be conditioned for the profession you're in. I wouldn't say that a surgeon is going to be conditioned the same way perhaps as an attorney. There's different types of conditioning. But you can't attain and maintain desirable physical condition unless it's preceded by mental and moral conditioning. They are prerequisites to the attainment of the desirable physical condition. And it's no sacrifice, just practice moderation in all the things you do. And I think that you've come close to attaining the type of a condition that we want.
True conditioning for the coach meant an attention to detail that guarded against anything, no matter how small it seemed, that might interfere with a person's readiness to perform.
Little things make big things happen. And one of the things that players will lose some time at practice are blisters. They pick up blisters. You know, basketball's played on a hard floor, and there's a lot of quick stops and turns and change of direction, change of pace, and that'll bring about blisters if you're not careful. So I wanted to stress that and try to prevent it. I believe in the prevention more than the cure. Until you get the problem, then I want the cure. But let's prevent it if we possibly can. And I taught my players, they used to laugh about it, how to put on their socks. And I want them pulled on a certain way, pulled up. Yeah, the tendency for blisters is around the little toe area and around the heel area. And if you, in putting on your socks, will make sure, take a few seconds extra time to see that there are no wrinkles around the little toe area and around the heel, and then if you get those, you won't have any wrinkles anyplace else. So it takes a little time. You stress down, you pull up in the back, and you hold them up while you put your shoes on so there'll be no blisters. And they used to laugh at me when I did that. We had a young man who became an actor later. You may have heard of him, Beau Bridges. And he came out for basketball. He got cut off. He wasn't very good. He didn't make very long. But he said he was so anxious to hear the words of wisdom that I was going to say when he came in as a freshman, that I set them all down. And I said, now, young man, the first thing I'm going to teach you is how to put on your shoes and socks. He was so down. He thought he was going to hear something really good, you know. He said, I told him. Many years later, he has a son. I was having basketball camps. And he brought his son to my basketball camp, and he sat there for the first session where I talked to the parents and the youngsters, and I said, now, young man, the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is put on your socks. Beau Bridges said he hadn't learned a thing in 20-some years. Hadn't learned a thing. He thought I would have learned something in that time. In the very heart of the structure is skills. We have to know what we're doing, you know, whatever it is. And that's not enough. We better be able to do it. And that's not enough. If we can't do it quickly, we might not get to do it at all. You know, I had some great shooters in basketball here. Oh my, I can remember some who could really shoot. But you know, they weren't quick and they couldn't get any shots. And that didn't help us at all. And then we had some others that, they were quick. They got a lot of shots, but they couldn't shoot. And that didn't help us either. We must be able to do things properly and quickly.
Until we could get it right in practice, he wasn't going to give us the opportunity to do it in the game. He might give you another chance to do it, but you're going to keep going through the cycle until you did it his way. And then if you fail doing it his way, he'd make a concession, but that never happened, you know.
He was much more of a practice coach than a game coach. He would spend hours and hours working on little things in practice and making you repeat them over and over again, and really never let you get by any fundamental error that you would ever make in practice. He was just a tiger. He was pacing the sidelines all the time, just barking, just yap, yap, yap all the time. You know, keep your head directly over the midpoint between the 2 feet. Be quick, but
Don't hurry. I don't want activity without achievement. Balance, mental, physical, emotional. Much can be accomplished if you're not worried about who's going to get the credit.
Just nonstop chatter, 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 and always complimenting the good plays and never letting a mistake escape notice and criticism. Even though he was the greatest team coach of all time, the real strength of his teaching ability and his working with players was getting them to be great individuals. And once you became a great individual, then the turning point came with the commitment to the team. And that's what the success is all about, is being happy in the context of being a perfect performer as an individual, but always in the context of being within the team.
Some people can do certain things and some people can do other things. Coach Wooden was a good judge of that, and he kept you away from what you shouldn't be doing and showed you how you could help the team. And that was the whole focus of everything.
And when the greatest individual high school talent of his time came to UCLA, he fit right in.
Kareem Jabbar, Louis Alcindor, when he played for me, was the epitome of what you'd expect in the team player. Here's a person that could be the greatest scorer, I feel, in the history. He turned out later on to be the greatest scorer in the history of the NBA, as some of you probably know. But he could have individually, I think, have become the greatest scorer in collegiate basketball history. I talked to him one time and said, you know, Louis, I think that we could make you the greatest scorer in the history of intercollegiate basketball, but we wouldn't win any championships if we did. Coach, I wouldn't want that, he said. I wouldn't, you know he wouldn't want that. And I did know he wouldn't want that, or I wouldn't have brought it up in the first place. But I did, and he said, that's not my goal here, to get individual statistics, and he was. He was the epitome of team spirit. And with a superstar like he was, not just a star, he was a superstar. That made the other players be a little more unselfish and more interested in the team play. When the superstar sets that example, it's pretty hard for the less qualified to try to be taking on himself too much. I think team spirit is merely consideration for others. I think that's team spirit, consideration for others. I heard team spirit defined one time as a willingness to lose oneself in the group for the welfare of the group. And I thought that was pretty good. I used it myself for quite a while, but there was something lacking, and I couldn't determine what it was. Eventually, I decided if I'd change just one word, it would be more what I would like. And I dropped the word willingness and inserted eagerness. So it became an eagerness to lose oneself in the group for the welfare of the group. If you're eager to do something, you'll want to do it. And you'll try to do the best you can. If you're willing to do something, no, you're willing to do it because somebody asked you to, and you'd be nice, but you don't really want to. You're not going to have the enthusiasm for doing it that we need.
Happiness begins when selfishness ends. There's no ego, there's no hype, there's no self-promotion. He never asked anything of us that he wouldn't do himself. And he never put anybody above the group, including himself.
There was never, ever any question in anybody's mind that he was using us. You know, a lot of college athletes get used, and it's a bad situation. We never, ever had that feeling about Coach Wooden.
My definition of success is peace of mind attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable. And only you as an individual will know whether you did that or not. You can fool others, but you can't fool yourself.